Yeah, so we can just start like this. Where you from?
I'm from Melbourne, Florida, which is like, you know where SpaceX is?
Yeah.
It's like right there.
Oh, really?
Literally, I'm like half an hour away from SpaceX, so like we see like rocket launches and shit
That's
all
sick.
the time.
Do you know what Full Sail is? Do you know like Winter Park
Yeah.
area?
Yeah, Winter Park area, that's like Orlando-ish. I've got like one friend that goes to Full Sail. Yeah.
Yeah, I just graduated from there. That's where I was going to school a little bit ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I was down there and stuff too. Winter Park, that's a nice area around there. I think I saw like one. I went to go see one space launch around there. We had to do like an hour drive though, but it was sick.
Yeah, you probably came over here then for a space launch.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. What did you say it was?
Yeah.
Melbourne. That sounds familiar.
Melbourne, Australia.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Merritt Island, that area. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What did you listen to growing up?
I guess like first thing I could probably start with would be the first CD, like the first physical piece of music I ever bought was "Songs in the Key of Life" by Stevie Wonder.
Mm.
That was I got that for Christmas in 2006. It was like that's whenever like I first started listening to music. My dad's like a big Grateful Dead fan, and my mom was like heavy into like a lot of like eclectic 80s music. Like we'd listen to like Bjork on the way to school and stuff. So those are my parents. My dad was a Deadhead, and then my mom listened to like just basically everything.
Right.
But for me, I guess first like experience with music was Stevie Wonder.
Mm.
Then right after, probably I'd say like halfway through elementary school, I got really into Jay-Z. Just I think it was like a video game soundtrack. It might have been like NBA Streets, and there's some song on there from the Black Album, and then I just, I looked it up, and I became like a big Jay-Z fan from there. I'm not a huge Jay-Z fan anymore, but yeah.
Yeah,
as a kid, it was major, yeah.
Yeah, taste progresses, taste grows. I'm definitely not a fan of some of the stuff I was a fan of early on.
Definitely the same, yeah.
Yeah. When did you start making music then?
Well, I technically started with production around this time last year. I think I checked I checked this like 2 weeks ago to see like when I bought Ableton, and it was May 20th, 2019. Oh, wow. So 8 days from now, yeah, it'll be officially 1 year, which is cool.
Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah, 1 year,
Yeah, and
I don't know what I'm going to do for that. Probably just make a tweet or something.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's something to commemorate for sure. Especially because was Contact your first project? Like your first official...
Contact's my first project. Like, I've done it before where I would just put up like 5 beats at a time on SoundCloud. Like, whenever I was really, really trying to like improve, I did it where I did like a small EP where I only sampled stuff from the YouTube recommended feed. Just to be like challenge myself.
Okay.
And that came out like probably right after I started listening to Horace Raw, Jordan.
Right.
That was like around the same time.
Okay.
But that doesn't exist anymore. I don't even remember what those beats sound like. But yeah, Contact's the first one.
Okay. And then, what was I going to say? Yeah, because you dropped, it was Contact and then B-Sides, and then all kind of within this month. When you go into creating a project like Contact, was that just a collection of beats you had, and you were like, these sound good together? Or was there a point where you're like, I'm going to start recording a full project now, and every beat from here is going to be considered for that project?
It was the latter. I've had the cover art for Contact since like fucking September. And I just kept putting it off. But yeah, everything that was made for Contact was specifically for Contact. That's probably what it'd only ever be. I'm not selling those beats. It's just that project. I made that all those like within a 2-week span,
Oh wow.
pretty much, other than like the tracks with the features on them. Just because, you know, I tried to be as like on top of the ball as I could have, you know, with that sort of thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ask someone for a feature and then, you know, I'll be like, oh, by the way, the project comes out like tomorrow. Like, what?
Right, yeah, no, give them a short deadline.
Yeah. So pretty much everything was done like within 2 weeks.
Okay.
The second to last song on Contact, I made the day of.
Oh wow,
was,
really?
Yeah, I made that the day of, just because I didn't really have anything that kind of felt like that on there. So I was like, you know, I'll put that on there.
That's interesting, actually, how you can, and that's the great thing about kind of being in the internet age, I guess, if that's what you want to call, where you can make kind of last minute decisions like that. So that's really dope.
Yeah.
Because you talked about the guest features a little bit. When you're making were the guest features a plan from the beginning, or did you make a beat and were like, oh, these people would sound good on it?
It kind of varied. So the first feature, which is Nort, he's someone that he's been kind of in touch with me for a long time, in terms of like, you know, I'd say like he hit me up like December of last year. That's whenever I think kind of things became rolling, but we always wanted to work, and I'm on like one or two of his small projects, and I just was like, you know, I need a feature from him on the tape, so let me just make a beat that I think he'd sound good on. So that's literally what I did, and then I hit him, and then he sent a verse back in 20 minutes. That's actually his favorite beat I've made.
Oh, really?
So I mean, so I just tried to like tailor as much as I could to him, and you know, he did his thing on it. All the verses on there are fantastic. I'm super blown away, especially by "It's My Life," that track, just because that's the first time I've ever done a beat switch.
And it was sick,
first time I ever had two people on the same beat as well, and I just wanted I was like, I guess the intention was I wanted to make a song for my car. If you're familiar, Metro World Peace and Amir Bilal, they did a track called Solar Flare.
Right.
And basically the idea behind It's My Life, I was listening to Solar Flare probably about 5 times a day. That's like one of my favorite songs this year. Like, I put up Solar Flare, and that's on Metro's SoundCloud. That's one of my favorite songs of the entire year.
Okay.
That song is fucking ridiculous. And I was just listening to it back and back and back, and I was like, you know what? I want to do something that kind of, I just basically got jealous, you know.
Right.
It doesn't sound similar, but I definitely was like, I want something that I can play in my car. That was the intention behind it, and I just wanted something with quotables.
Okay.
And first person I thought of with quotables was Cruisin', who was he's a part of No Clue.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, those guys are sick.
No Clue's crazy.
Very blessed to have a No Clue feature in my project. I've got a lot of stuff coming with those guys.
Fire.
Fairly soon. I've got a couple. 98 Preem has a small EP, I think, coming out hopefully soon. I've got 2 joints on there.
Oh.
Then there's some other stuff I can't talk about, but yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because you said you kind of you made these beats with people in mind, do you do the same when you kind of flip a song? Do you hear the verse and are like, oh, is it like, oh, I can do a better beat, or is it like, oh, this is just a sick verse, I want to kind of make it my own?
So like whenever I'm flipping like a sample, can you repeat that real quick? Sorry.
Like when you because you flipped the Conway verse from Bang on Baby Blue, and then you did was it Baby Blue, or am I singing B-sides? I might be incorrect.
That was B-sides.
B-sides, yeah. And then you did the Cardi flip and the Capital Steez. When you hear, like, is it just like you hear a verse like that and you're like, oh, that's sick, and you want to kind of make that like in your own world? You know what I mean?
Definitely. Like, I guess whenever I'm picking verses I want to flip, I look heavily into what they're rapping about. And I try and like, I think that's why I like Knowledge so much, because I feel like he he strikes the emotion of a verse almost better than the original song at times.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he's doing a flip, you know, and sometimes it could just be, you know, sort of like vibey. Like, I wanted the Cardi flip to just sound like its own thing, sort of deal. It doesn't even sound like a Cardi song. It doesn't. It's just something that kind of came to. And I just wanted someone to break the project up a bit. Just have that there, like the location of a Cardi flip right there. And I think it's like the fourth to last song. And it's like a play with Cardi flip. And it's super like left field. Having that was important. And then Capital C is my favorite rapper. So putting that at the very front of the project with pretty much a drumless sample I thought was interesting, just because like I wanted to make a beat that I would have wanted C's to rap on. And the Conway flip was just literally, I like Conway.
Yeah, Conway's the man.
And I hate that song. I love this. I love Conway. I hate that song. I love his verse. You know, and I was just like, let me just make a Conway flip.
Right, yeah. That's why I kind of like your version better, because it kind of cuts off right when Eminem should come in. So I don't have to.
That's the point, yeah.
So because all your songs, the titles are formatted the same as well with the sweet exclamation points. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or is that where did that plan come from?
It's just always been. I've got a couple reasons for it. One is, if you're familiar, like with Ninth Wonder's his Zion projects.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They all have like exclamation points or question marks at the end. He normally does it to signal in the track listing what kind of feeling you're gonna get from each song. Like the 3 exclamation points are like really like heavy boom bappy. I don't even like the word boom bap, but like just very like drum and heavy and very soulful sample stuff. The question marks is like more of his R&B somber flips and stuff.
Okay.
I huge Ninth Wonder fan. Little Brother's probably the reason why I started making music. Wow. In terms of hip hop specifically. Little Brother's incredibly influential in me. Back to whatever. I mean, where I'm from. I live in Florida, but I was raised in North Carolina for 16 years.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really have an influence in this state, but in North Carolina, I started just only listening to North Carolina hip hop for years. So Little Brother's huge influence on me. Plus the triple exclamation point, it's like whenever I'm sending out beats to rappers and stuff, they have like just regular names and then they have the BPM. Mm-hmm. You put 3 exclamation points, I think it stands out a little bit better.
Okay.
You know, whenever they look at a giant Dropbox list and it's just all these random names for beats and then a BPM, having something that kind of like stands out a little bit more is, it's nice, I think.
No, I get it for sure. So yeah, you just did 3 projects. So did now just feel like the right time to start releasing so much collective music, or what was the inspiration behind dropping something? Because they were all like within a month of each other, right? They were all pretty much in the same time span.
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
pretty much span. I guess what it kind of came from is just, I have a lot of extra time on my hands, and that's whenever finals weren't happening. So it was like, okay, I have the opportunity of just getting this done. Like, I can just do this. So I didn't have to study for finals or anything. So I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna try and bang out a project. And, B-sides is all of the cut, like, it's pretty much all of the cut stuff. I still have way more cut stuff.
Right.
Contact was all intentional. Like, those were, I pretty much, like, I made all those intentionally for the project. There's nothing else. Like, no, I didn't want any filler, just all for the project. And then Baby Blue was just, it was the artist day on Bandcamp.
Right.
And, I kind of wanted something that was like, you can support me by buying this. You get some extra, like, I want to do the bonus tracks for Contact. So I just treated it as that. But I made all those beats on Baby Blue within like 2 days. And then I put out that project for for the Bandcamp day, and that was kind of also, I wanted to treat that as like, instead of sending out packs to people, they just, they opened up a SoundCloud link and then they just listened to the way through. I already sent out like all of those beats to people, so I just kind of treated it like a pack.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. The Bandcamp day is so sick. I love when they do that.
I think that's super crucial right now, especially.
Oh my god, for sure. When I was in full, I always hopped on kids that were making music to put this stuff up on Bandcamp. And I was always a big advocate for Bandcamp. I really like Bandcamp.
I think it's a really good platform, especially just starting out, because, I mean, you can really see, like, your music reach out to people. Mm. It's not like, I think, like, I don't like Spotify as a platform. I don't like most music streaming services. I love SoundCloud. SoundCloud, I think, is the best music streaming service.
Okay.
Just period. It's just open source, you can put on there what you need to put on there, and they have good. Why I think it's the best platform is just their recommendation and their content stream. You're gonna find someone you like if you listen to one person enough, probably in like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Because they kind of have stuff queued up already. Like when you've done one song, they have another song queued up that like someone else who listened to that song listen to this song right after, or however that works.
Right.
So that's interesting.
And I can look and see like who people listen to after they listen to my song and stuff like that,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get that. I use Apple Music, but just because that's why I like doing the research, and Apple Music just has like a bigger catalog, I guess. So like if I find something on like Discogs, I'm able to just go on Apple Music, and it's usually like right there for me. But I never thought about it from like a, I guess like an artist standpoint about like SoundCloud and stuff like that. Because I definitely use it, but definitely not as much as Apple Music. So I know what you mean.
I use Tidal, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those. But.
They gave me, because I'm from right outside of Philadelphia, so they would have the Made in America festival there, and they would throw in 3 months Tidal subscriptions at the crowd. So I had it for a little bit, and it was sick. It's nice, and it's a good platform. And I think of all the streaming services, they pay the artists the most, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it's sick, but like it's like $20 a month, and like I'm just getting out of college, so I don't have that right now.
Yeah, they have the same platform that Spotify has right now for students. So
they
have the exact same pricing standpoint too.
Oh.
So that's what I use, and Spotify got rid of theirs just recently.
Oh, really?
The student bundle. So
wow.
Tidal has it, and I've been using that.
Yeah,
Tidal because it gives me production credits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see exactly who mastered and did all that stuff.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know it went into that much detail. I usually go on Discogs for that.
That's why I love it,
That is interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look into Tidal. I'll have to do another 3-month subscription for free and just get a feel for it. But it's also like I just have so much, like, I've had Apple Music since like 2016, so I have just like stuff on there for like 4 years ago, and just like a huge library of music on there that like I don't know if it like will transfer over like that.
Right.
So it's just I may be just stuck in my ways. But where did the name come from, Pepper Adams?
My name, Pepper Adams?
Yeah.
So it's actually from a jazz artist. His name is his stage name is Pepper Adams.
Oh.
And he I've been a musician for 9 years. I've been playing saxophone since middle school.
Wow.
And it's something that I take pride in that. I'm definitely, I think, I don't know about anymore, but for the longest point, I was a better saxophonist than I was a producer.
Oh, wow.
Saxophone is something I love very, very much. And he was kind of the catalyst, I think, for me developing a deep appreciation for music. He's just like this Jewish guy from Philadelphia. He's from Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, Chicago. Jewish guy from Chicago, and he played the same instrument that I did, and I just, I really fell in love with his music. And he was like one of the only white guys in that heyday of jazz music that was actually like John Coltrane, Miles Davis. They all co-signed him.
Oh wow!
They all said he was legit. and he was the literal only white guy that John Coltrane worked for like a 20-year period.
Oh.
Which I thought was, very, very interesting, because John Coltrane was outspokenly against like pretty much most white jazz musicians, which I think is funny.
Yeah, it's can't really be mad at them.
No, not at all. Especially in jazz at that time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just especially any time in the United States, pretty much.
Right. Even being on the same, cover was, that wasn't a thing until I think like mid '70s, really.
Interesting.
So Pepper Adams is his stage name. Like he has a bunch of other like nicknames, like the Knife and all this stuff. So I was like, he has a ton, his discography is incredible to me.
Yeah.
His first Blue Note record was called Encounter with an exclamation point at the end.
Oh.
And Contact is just a synonym of Encounter. And I just put the 2 exclamation points at the end. I was like, all right, that's it. So it kind of, I did my best to kind of structure the project the same way that album is structured.
Oh.
It's tough as a jazz record, like, matching the structure of that album, especially because it's one of my favorites of all time, Encounter. And kind of having that as a first and it be like, paying my homage to him and what he did for jazz music, I think is something that I kind of am trying to live up to.
Right.
Having the name Pepper Adams also, I think, is just kind of a constant reminder of the standard I need to put myself at to release music. Because it's like I'm artificially giving myself this name, so I better do it justice, sort of deal.
That's really interesting. I never heard of the jazz music. I gotta look up that album and everything. I gotta do my research, because that's super interesting. I never knew about that.
Hey man, he's dope. I love him.
Yeah.
He, like I said, like being in middle school and, that period of time whenever you're like most impressionable, I think, I just fell in love with jazz music. And, I still listen to hip hop for the whole time, but jazz is still like kind of where my heart resides. It's what I enjoy listening to at the same level as hip hop.
Right.
The exact same. But yeah, definitely he has a crazy discography. He's if you recognize the baritone saxophone, which is the biggest one, in any of like John Coltrane's music, that's Pepper Adams.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So he's everywhere, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. That's around the same time that I got into the more jazz stuff. I was into Miles Davis and stuff in middle school too, and I started kind of exploring more because I was like, well, I loved hip hop, but then I started being interested in the origins of hip hop and how this person got inspired by this person, that person got inspired by that person. So going down that line was always fun to me. So that's interesting. Because you have the same little character guy for like all your profile pictures on Twitter and stuff like that. Where is that guy from, and what does he mean to you?
His name's Vivi. He's from Final Fantasy IX.
Okay.
Which is, it's a Final Fantasy game for the PlayStation 1.
Right.
And he's just like he's a reoccurring character in the Final Fantasy series, where it's like his character design's the Black Mage. I just think he looks cool, personally. And, Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorite games.
Okay.
And his backstory is just very, very, very tragic. Trying to, it's a very sad story. I don't want to go into detail about it, but I felt like having just some sort of unique branding, I think was cool. Having something that, you look at my profile picture and then it's like, it's not like some dude that's he's making beats on some drum machine that's really grained out with all these video effects on the image and stuff, just to try and stand out a bit.
Okay.
Plus, I just like the character and all that stuff.
Yeah, he is cool looking for sure. And I thought I recognized him from somewhere, but I don't think I ever played the Final Fantasy game, so I don't know what I'm thinking of.
There's a Vivi's in Kingdom Hearts as well.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. That's what I played when I was younger.
He looks a bit different in that game, but it's pretty much the same character design.
Okay. That's interesting.
Big reason behind having, like, just that character is it kind of removes me, like, me as a person away from my work, like, as a producer. I like having it kind of separate.
Okay.
Personally. Just because, like, you know, I have me as a person, and then I have me as a producer, and what you associate with. So just having another sort of visual cue of an entity, like, whenever I think of Madlib, first thing that pops into my mind is the Quasimodo character.
I was just thinking the same thing.
And that's a big part of it as well. Madlib's huge inspiration on me as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
Massive. Probably more than Ninth Wonder, probably more than anyone.
Okay.
So the Quasimodo character, definitely, I saw that and I was like, yeah, I want to do something like that. I think that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense from, like, a merchandising standpoint because, like, you know, I can always commission artwork of that character. You know, I want to get him, like, done, like, playing on, like, you know, a beat machine or something. Just something cool to, you know, get sort of brand recognition out.
100%. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's interesting that you bring it up because I always think about how, like, especially in hip hop, there's a lot of people with, like, these kind of alter egos and aliases and stuff like that, like Flylo with Captain Murphy, and like you said, Madlib with Quasimodo. And it's I always just thought it was interesting. I never really dug deep into, like, reasoning and stuff like that, but I always thought it was really cool when producers and other people do that. Because I think it's like what you're saying, where, like, it does, like, it makes you focus on the music more than anything else because you're like, oh, this is a weird type of character, type of imagery going on around it. Why is it like that, and how is that going to sound? You know what I mean? It kind of puts an image in your head.
It's just another visual cue for what you're creating, and I think visual cues can really create, like, a lasting effect, especially as a producer. You know, most producers, I think, are very, like, charismatic, creative people. We're all very quiet, but just having something that, you know, especially with hip hop and how people make beats, is very, very hands-on. Like, it can only exist through your eyes, your creative vision. So that's and just standing out and being myself, I think, is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So, I mean, to me, when I listen to your music, it's sort of, like, colorful and fun and, like, kind of psychedelic in a way. What would you, like, agree with that? Is that kind of a goal of yours, or how would you describe your music?
I guess, I don't even really have a descriptors for my music right now.
Yeah, I guess that's a weird question now that I think about it.
No, it's a good question. It's like painting it down exactly right.
Yeah, a tough one, I guess I should say.
I guess what I try and evoke is sort of, I want something that is going to be able to, like, you know, it's engaging and, you know, music often for me is a very, like, physical experience.
Yeah.
You know, I like, when I listen to Stevie Wonder, I still get chills. When I listen to Stevie Wonder, I wanted something that's like, like, you know, you feel it up and down your arms and your spine and stuff. That's what, like, really hard, soulful beats do to me is, like, you know, I hear chops and I start tweaking. like good Ninth Wonder chops, and he's just on a different planet, you know. When something clicks right, it's just, that's what I want. I guess what I try and aim for is just it's just like a sense of satisfaction when listening, or, you know, something that is just engaging enough where you can listen to it multiple times. And I guess with the psychedelic cuts, like, probably Whoosh, I think, is what people would say would be, like, the most quote unquote psychedelic, but like that beat is like nothing. It's just a drum. It's like a drum track that I program my drums and then I chop the sample, and that's it. Nothing. Barely any audio effects. I just mixed it very specifically.
That's kind of what psychedelic like kind of is to me, though. I guess like more of an ambience to the music, because you look at like psychedelic rock and everything like that,
Yeah.
like Pink Floyd and stuff like that. Like when you Google psychedelic rock, like the first thing that comes up is Pink Floyd's like Dark Side
Right.
of the Moon, and that's a very ambient album when you really break it down. There's not a lot going on in there, so I understand what you're saying, and that is kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm able to evoke that sort of like, I guess, psychedelic feeling, because I make my beats very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about hip hop is, I think repetition is like the most underrated song structure. Like the most underrated thing in a song is repetition. That's why I love this wave of hip hop going right now with loops.
Mm-hmm.
Because your brain actively seeks out repetition with music. It actively seeks it out. It seeks resolution and it seeks repetition. And that's like my two biggest things, I think, are why I chop records the way I do and I make beats the way I make them, is because that sense of like where it starts and ends and what is going on. That's why I like, if you really listen to like how I chop samples, you'll find similarities where they all are. Like, I'll put like a vocal stab on the fourth beat and then it comes in on one or whatever, and sort of that kind of deal.
Right. What's been inspiring recently? I know you talk about the like Madlib and Ninth Wonder, your big inspiration for making music, but like just I guess within like you said, that 3-week span where you were just releasing a ton of music, what was really inspiring during that time?
I didn't listen to anything while I was making Contact. What I did listen to prior was I listened to HUD Dreams by Knowledge.
Okay.
Probably about 20 times. That's my favorite beat tape, period. I think that's the best one. Just because it exists just entirely by itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own thing. I listen to a lot of Knowledge. Mutant Academy. Mutant Academy is huge for me. I love their sound, what they're going for. Grey Matter is like one of the best producers I've ever heard personally. What else was I listening to? This is a really great record called Crumbling, My Midair Thief.
Okay.
Which is like it's a South Korean solo act where, it's this guy in South Korea where it's this sort of like experimental psychedelic rock, math rock. It's very like influenced by jazz and music theory. I love that record so much. I have it on vinyl. Highly recommend that record. Crumbling by Midair Thief. Then Black Midi, which is it's like a prog rock group, very like metal influence out of I think UK.
Okay.
I believe. Their record Schlongheim, which is their debut record. Love that album. Listened to that a lot recently. It came out last year. And just Mobb Deep's entire discography.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's what I've been really. That's probably like everything I've been listening from like January to now.
Okay.
Is what my stretch has been.
Okay. Anything like outside of music that really inspires you when you're creating it? Like it's like you weren't listening to much during Contact. Was there any other type of outside influences going on, or were you just really kind of zoned in making music?
It was really kind of, I was just zoned in making music.
Okay.
But I guess the stuff that I was like digesting at the time, I think that's a big thing of like whatever art you kind of digest is kind of like treating music like how people treat food, like what kind of art you intake. If you just if you just basically listen to the equivalent of like hamburgers and shit, like it's gonna affect your mental psyche and stuff. So I've just been trying to surround myself with like as much high quality stuff as I can. I watched Taxi Driver a couple times.
Oh, okay.
With the movie Robert De Niro.
Right.
And there's a Taxi Driver sample on the record.
Oh, okay.
On Contact. That's the interlude. I don't remember the name of the song.
I know what you're talking about, though.
I think it's but yeah, it's the middle point of the record. There's a Taxi Driver sample on there. I'm a big anime guy. I will say that with my whole chest. Watching One Piece a lot, so that repetition thing, I guess. One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, and then just like playing a lot of Animal Crossing. You know,
I feel that. I gotta get
a lot of Animal Crossing. It's really good.
It's
addicting for me.
I have the DS one, and that's it. I only have like the 3DS version. And Tom Nook was like, "You gotta get like 2,000 bells to like pay off this house," and I was like, "I'm gonna take a break. That's a lot of work to do. That's a lot of fish catching and shit."
Right.
But that's it. Yeah, because I like what you were saying. Well, like, because I think about that a lot. Well, like when no matter what art I'm intaking, even if it's not music, if it's movies, if I'm reading a book, if I'm looking at something online, I still kind of, even though I don't notice it, I feel like I still kind of get influences off of that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like you are what you eat.
Exactly.
I think that's the right idea of it. I also I finished 2 books in between, like while I was probably in April, I think. Yeah, April-ish, like first 2 weeks of April, I finished this book called Paradise Lost by John Milton.
Okay.
And that book inspired Frankenstein. But it's an Adam and Eve story.
Okay.
And then I read A Clockwork Orange.
Oh.
By Anthony Burgess. That book's really good. Right. So I 2 books I read during the time I was making Contact. Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you have any routines that you go through? Just like.
Whenever I'm making a beat.
When you're making a beat, or before you make a beat, after you make a beat, you want to do this, or you gotta do that, or if there's just anything for you. Your creative process.
I normally make my beats like I wake up at 6:45 every morning.
Okay.
I'm a morning guy.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up really early, and just whenever I'm like fresh in the morning, I normally I do like stretches when I first wake up. And I'm not like bullshitting. I do stretches in the morning.
No, for sure.
And I have a yoga mat like right outside my bed, and I just lay on the floor, and then I do planks and shit. And then I make a cup of tea, and then I make beats for like 2 hours. I normally finish at 10. I'll wake up at 7. I'll do stretches, go take a shower, have the tea brewing while I'm in the shower, get out, drink tea while I'm making the beat. You know, I just try and make it. I like I said, music's a very body experience for me. So getting kind of me started up in the morning and fresh is important.
Right.
Plus, I just feel way more productive in the morning.
Okay.
I found that it's really hard for me to make beats at night. So, maybe that's why my sound is very bright and, kind of summery and all that shit.
That's
it's first thing in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
That's whenever I make my beats. Pretty much everything was done. Yeah, every single beat I made on there was in the morning. Okay. All of them.
It's literally that's identical. That's almost identical what I do. I literally wake up and I do some type of yoga, some type of workout or something like that just to get myself awake. And I take a shower and I drink tea and I try to listen to an album before I go online or anything like that, or listen to something I never heard before. Usually is my plan, and just kind of do some more research on that. So that's funny that you were describing it and I was like, well, is this me? This is exactly what I do.
It's just having structure I think is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely get you with that routine is a good one to have just because I've try to cut out drinking coffee. It makes me too jittery. But tea's I can drink tea. And what made me start doing the yoga was Freddie Gives a Story, surprisingly, on Instagram. He does yoga on his story, and I was like, let me give that a shot. And I just found it to work really well for me. the main reason why I do it is because I sit in front of a computer for so long, and I'm digging for samples. Like, digging for samples is what I spend most of my time making a beat doing. Like, it's almost 70% making. It's 70% of my process is finding samples. 30% else is making the beat, pretty much.
Okay.
Which is, it's annoying because I don't have a record. Well, like, I have a record player, but I don't have anything that I can use to take the audio from the record and put it into my machine.
Right.
You know, we're kind of balling on a budget here. You know?
Oh, for sure. No, I know what you mean. I got a fat record collection, but like the record collection accumulated while I was down in Florida at school, and it was my roommate's record player. So like I just have all these records and nowhere to play them. So I feel you when it's like that. What was I gonna say? What type of tea do you drink?
It's called I don't remember the name of it. Ginseng and honey is what's in one of them. Like ginger, all that good stuff. Let me go get the box. Hold on.
Yeah, go for it.
The brand is Pukka, Pukka.
Okay.
What is this? Lemon, ginger, and manuka honey. Yeah, I love this. Is the go-to stuff.
Okay. I'll have to try
it's
it.
Herbal tea. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
We're on the organic wave.
Oh, for sure. No, there used to be this spot called Dave's Tea. It might be a chain, but I've only ever seen one up back home. And they would have, like, the crazy, like, white teas and all of that stuff like that. And my roommate down in Florida, like, traveled to China at some point, so he had tea from there that we would always cook up and stuff. Yeah, it was crazy. It was some high-quality tea.
I love tea.
I'm a tea nut.
I've fully migrated over, yeah.
Yeah, I still drink coffee just because tea doesn't wake me up. So sometimes, like you said, like I'm sort of a morning person. So when I wake up and it's like, oh, I don't want to do anything right now, but like I kind of feel like I have to, just so I don't just sit in my bed on Twitter or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I still because tea doesn't really wake me up. So I like the coffee to wake me up when I have to. Only when I try not to make a routine of it.
Yeah, I was. I had a stretch where I was like, right now I'm unemployed, but I worked 2 jobs at one point. I was a bartender and I was a cashier and a bagger.
Okay.
So, bartended at a bar. I also served food there, and then I cashiered in a grocery store and then bagged groceries there too. And I was going to school full time during that whole thing, and I was just like down in coffee. Just a ridiculous amount of coffee. It was actually bad for me.
Oh, for sure.
Horrible.
Yeah, I was the same way when I was at school. I was just having so much coffee. Because the way that school is, like, we don't have, like, a summer break. It's really just 2 years straight, and, like, we'll get a week off every, like, 6 months, maybe. And for me to, like, travel around and go back home and stuff like that. But besides that, it's like, you have a class 1 month, and then after that month's over, the next Monday, you start your next class. And I was having just, like, at least 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day. And I would just start sweating just sitting there doing my homework because I was just so caffeined up. And I was like, this can't be healthy for me.
My eyes would start, like, scattering, and, like, my vision kept messing up. I'm not on the coffee wave anymore. It's not for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to wean myself off of it. But, Can you explain like flipping a song in like your own words?
Flipping a song, so
Yeah.
like sampling or just
I guess more like we were talking about. We kind of already touched on it, but more about like what you did with like Cardi and Conway and stuff like that. Because that's just been. I just see a lot of people doing that, so I just don't know what your kind of perspective is on it.
My perspective on it.
Yeah.
I guess the reason why I do it a lot of times is because I want, like, that's an artist I actually like and I admire, and I want to, like, have my own take on something. Just because I think it's very engaging, and hearing something in a new way or your interpretation of it is it gives it kind of a personal effect. And it's also a lot of people do it for like it's good for just branding.
Okay.
You know, you put out a flip and it's like, oh, here's a Playboy Cardi flip, and it's like, okay, like you know, Knowledge did those flips at Meek Mill, and I think it's just because he likes Meek Mill. But having something where it's like your own interpretation of an artist's song, I think it's really fun and interesting, and it's just very hip hop, you know.
Yeah.
Taking something and making it your own. Definitely, I've had an experience of like me wanting deeply to make a song with an artist, and it turns out perfect.
Okay.
Probably the Mac Homie flip. Is that's my that's my biggest flip probably.
Okay.
On SoundCloud. It's that one people will like hit me up and like, whoa, where'd you get the acapella? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And that song is just it's a feature from Mac Homie on some it might have been like Crime Apple. I'm not familiar. I'm not sure where it's from.
Okay.
But I just cut out the low end and then it's just him rapping and then I put a beat over it, you know, my own thing. And I guess flipping, it's like you just wanted to make a song with the artist more than likely, or yeah.
So it's sort
so
of
that was kind of incoherent, but
no, I know what you mean though. It's kind of like not to put like a specific word on it, but like there's certain artists that like are pretty unreachable, I guess. You know what I mean? Like a Mac Homie, where like he doesn't even have like. No one knows where he is 24/7 unless you're like your old Droog, and he's like the only other person who knows what Mac Homie's doing. So like I guess it is kind of like fulfilling a dream in a way. Maybe that's not the correct wording for it, but like yeah, like getting like a Conway verse, like he's just sort of like out of here. Not that you'll never have a song with Conway, but like just at this moment, it's hard to get in contact with someone like Conway or Mac Homie for a producer like yourself.
No, I feel you. Yeah. It just kind of also like just pushes me a bit harder too, to make a better song, because I'm putting out something with my name on it, with another artist's name on it, so they kind of come with an expectation. But I mean, I don't think I'm too far off from a Mac Homie song. I don't think I'm that far off.
No, I don't think so either.
One guy I'm familiar with, Nephew Hesh. Okay. He has a song with Droog, and that's the song that Mac Homie's featured on, what is it? What's the album with Bubbles? Droog?
I know what you're talking. It's got the witch on the cover. It's like if it wasn't even close.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
I think that's
this song with Mac Homie is produced by Nephew Hesh.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy's sick.
Nephew Hesh is dope.
And he was like a Twitter guy.
Oh, right? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'm not like putting any sort of like thing into the universe about that, but I'm just gonna keep working. Having Mac Homie rapping one of my beats would that's like a lifetime achievement for me.
Yeah, that'd be pretty brain melting. Because Mac Homie's just so sick.
HBO is like one of my favorite rap albums of all time.
HBO's sick, yeah. I think my favorite Homie... Well, Mac Homie is my favorite verse of all time on Continental Breakfast. He just hit, like, some sort of otherworldly pocket on there that just blows my mind every time I hear it. I'm never, like... I pretty much wake up every morning and, like, listen to Continental Breakfast just because it's, like, it's just so unreal to me what he did on there.
He's probably the most interesting rapper to come out in a long time.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Someone said he sounded like an evil. Who was it? He sounded like an evil Mos Def.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and it's kind of similar in the like sense that there's like an illusion around him or some total mystique going on about the artists themselves, and that's why I kind of likened it to you, because with the original, until I saw like the Baby Blue cover, I didn't know what you looked like. Not that it mattered to me. But, like, I just didn't notice that until you put out the Baby Blue cover, and I was like, oh, I only know him as this little guy in a funny hat. And, and I always think that's more interesting, because, like, it's like we were saying, where, like, it just makes me focus on the music more. Not that if I saw a picture, I would think any different of your music, but you know what I mean. Where, like, it's like you're saying, where, like, it is just you focus on the music a little bit more.
It's, like the branding aspect. And plus, like, I think a big part of it is that I'm not attached to anyone, or anywhere geography wise.
Right.
I am, like, I'm an internet-based producer. I don't have, like, Jamante talks about this all the time, but, he doesn't have anyone that put him on. There are no OGs in Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anyone that put me on other than myself. Like, pretty much everything has just been self-made.
Right.
I was just fans of people that I was surrounded by beforehand, and then just kind of kept pushing. And I've kind of had my own little pocket now, which I'm very, very happy about. I'm very thankful for.
Right.
Just to have people that respond to it well. But that's another reason why I like having just something that kind of detaches me from it. Because it's not like it's not like I'm there in person. So having something like that, that character, I think adds another layer to that. Like you said, the mystique, and I don't know. I've got ideas for that character and other things that I'd like to do with it.
Right.
So adding that on there, I think would be interesting. Doing some sort of like maybe like a short or some kind of like loop of them just like doing something like a beat pad. And, yeah.
And that's what's kind of one of the more interesting things to me about you is that you've only really been doing it a year, but like some of the stuff you're making, I've never heard some of that stuff before at all. You know what I mean? Like there's no real like, because that's what they taught me in school. Is like when a new artist comes out, there's always going to be comparisons to that artist, and I never agreed with that. And I think you're a perfect example. Is that you have 3 projects out? They've all come out within the last month, and like I haven't heard anything like your music. So that's just
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, for sure.
I just I guess with that it's like
I guess that wasn't really a question. That was more of a comment. Like I was just
Gotcha, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, for sure. And so we're wrapping up. What have you been working on recently besides because you're someone who like every time I log onto Twitter, you're posting another video of a beat you're working on, or you're just your drum pad and stuff like that. So are those going towards something, or are you just someone who just always feels the need to constantly create?
I like keeping myself fresh, because what I feel every day is I feel like I'm improving on a daily basis, which is a very good place to be in creatively. Mm-hmm. And I guess what's going on right now is the guy Urnor, he's got a project coming out. I've got a couple beats on there. Probably gonna wind up being more because I've been, I'm pretty tired. Like I put out 3 projects,
but
and I just got done with finals, so this is my week off, and then I'm taking summer classes next week.
Okay,
that's gonna be like all summer, but I'm probably making a lot of beats for that. Familiar, with the No Clue guys, Preem Bilal, which is a project they kept talking about. More than likely gonna have a couple joints on there.
Oh.
Which I think is be cool.
Yeah, that's exciting.
With 98 Preem, he's got right now there's 2 joints on there that I've made for. He has a small EP coming out. I don't know when that's coming out. I don't know if it's still happening. He did post a snippet of the beat I made with him rapping on it on Twitter. And that beat's like a couple months old. I think I made those in February.
Oh, wow.
So he's just taking his time, I think, on it. Waiting for the right opportunity to drop it whenever it's smart for him. Stuff that I can't talk about with other No Clue members. What else is there? Right now, I'm aiming for another tape this summer.
Oh.
I think personally, this is gonna be the one.
Okay.
Just to have that year of experience under my belt and already know what it feels like to make a project and like a high volume of beats. This one I'm probably gonna try and aim for a longer time on, and I'm going to approach it differently with how my sound is going to try and come across. I'm really trying to darken up my sound.
Oh.
And like improve in certain aspects with, like, you know, there's always stuff I can improve on, like drums and such, you know. So for the next, there's probably another beat tape in the summer. So hopefully people look forward to that. Definitely. And like I said, beats coming with a bunch of people rapping on them. I've got joints with Knowledge of My Death, or Eyes Wide Shut. Knowledge of My Death on Twitter, Eyes Wide Shut. Me and him have some small thing coming out. Hopefully, could be like this weekend.
Oh, that's exciting.
Then what else? Jay Cinema.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be on one of my beats. Let me see. I'm gonna check the Twitter DMs. I feel like I don't make enough beats, but actually saying it out loud, I've made a lot of beats.
So you put out sweet projects. It's definitely nothing. You kind of, if you take a week off, I don't think anyone is gonna. You know what I mean? There's no need to beat yourself up for not making a beat for a day or two if you.
Yeah, and I made 2 beats today.
Wow, really?
Yeah, right before this. I've got a project coming. Not a project. Goodness. I've got a beat coming. I've got some joints probably coming with Dirt. And he was on that small EP that Amir dropped on Bandcamp Day.
Yeah.
And his verse was crazy on there.
That was just little 2 joints.
The joint that he's rapping on is Red Polo off of Contact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is actually one of my favorite songs on there. Jay Trent on Twitter.
Yeah.
Me and him have some joints coming.
Oh, that's exciting.
If you're familiar with him and his song with Lil Bow Wow Pete.
Yeah, that was a great project that he dropped. Yeah.
That was a fantastic project that Pete dropped.
Yeah, I really like that one.
And that's me in my my soulful Ninth Wonder bag.
Ooh.
I sent like 3 beats to him, and he's got something coming.
Okay.
What else is there? Azir.
I don't think I'm familiar. Maybe not.
Double A, SIR, Azir. He's a part of, what is it? What group? I think he's a part of Madil.
Okay.
He has a bunch of work Spaced. I'm a huge fan of Spaced. Very, very important producer to me, Spaced. Echo's got a couple of my beats. Trap Echo. Probably more shit with Metro War Peace. Goodness.
You got a lot. You got.
I'm kind of surprised.
I mean, I feel like when you're in the zone like you are, sometimes you don't really realize until you step back and you're like, oh shit, I just I have a lot coming out soon.
Yeah, now that I'm actually talking about it, I actually have a lot. So I guess all those people.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird to think about because I really only have like a couple joints out with people right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think everything's just kind of in the works.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone has their own creative process. I can't really match their pace because I don't plan on slowing down. Just because, like I said earlier, like I feel improvement every day, and you know, something that I think I take pride in myself is just work ethic. You know, I don't really complain about production. I love producing more than anything. I can talk to you about how beautiful I think, you know, making beats is for hours and hours. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I feel like I'm in a very cool spot right now, you know. The next few months, I think, are going to determine, like, my trajectory for the next year or so. And that's why I'm just trying to outwork as many people as I can.
Right.
I'm not competing with anyone, but it's like, you know.
Yeah, healthy competition.
I've got to outwork people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of producers that I'm friends with, you know, they're all making really dope work, and you know, I'm trying to match that level and exceed it as much as I can, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do everything I can do to make the best art I can make, sort of deal.
But I think that's all the questions I had, man. I think that was a solid. We talked for like an hour, which is sick. I think that's dope.
Yeah, I'm kind of a chatterbox when it comes to music.
No, but that's great. That makes my job easier because I don't have to be a chatter. I don't have to talk about anything for too long.
Yeah.
You just which is what people want to hear, is what you have to say. I don't know. You know what I mean? They're the people who
Yeah.
So definitely no. Yeah, I appreciate the time and everything like that, man. For sure.
Of course.
Sidewalks, stores, everywhere. There's no escape from God's lonely man. June 8th. My life has taken another turn again. The days move along with regularity, over and over. One day indistinguishable from the next. A long, continuous chain. Then suddenly, there is a change.
You know, I want to be as open as possible about my process and, you know, try and just be genuine. Because, like I said, when people have genuine intentions, I think you should jump on them and, you know, uplift one another. So I'm always going to support genuine people doing what they love because that's the stuff that lasts, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, because you're always talking about sampling and shit like that. Do you know about the Peace, Love, and Poetry series?
No, I don't.
It's I think it was probably in the late 80s, maybe. This German label QDK put together a series of compilation albums highlighting psychedelic music from like all around the world, like Peace, Love, and Poetry Japan edition, Peace, Love, and Poetry Africa edition, and shit like that. And most of that stuff's on like YouTube. If you go on Discogs and find the track list and look up the artist, you can probably find some really dope shit on there in terms of sampling.
I will definitely look at that Peace, Love, and Poetry.
Yeah.
I'll keep that. I'm gonna cue that up right now.
Because that's what I found out. I don't know, on the website I have this huge, not huge, I have a write-up or a profile on this guy, Hiro, and I don't want to try to pronounce his last name because I'm an idiot, so I'll probably fuck it up, but he's a Japanese, keyboardist, and he just, like, I'm looking through the Japanese version they did, and, like, all the keyboards are, like, so sick, and then I'm looking at the credits, and it's all just this one guy who just played, like, keyboard on all of it, and he has, like, this one solo album that's out digitally, I think, called Milk Time from 1970, and that it's just, like, this huge combination, like, this weird, like, heavy psychedelic stuff, but then there's, like, real pretty ambient type stuff, and it's just, like, he's such an interesting guy to me. But, like, right now, the last I heard of him, or the last thing that I found, the most recent thing I found on the internet, is that he's, like, doing commercial jingles in Japan right now. But he was, like, one of the most influential Japanese, or one of the most influential keyboardists in psychedelic music in Japan at the turn of the 70s.
I've got that queued up right now, so I'm gonna be listening to that for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
That's what. Yeah, I'm just.
When people tell me like, "Oh, you should look this up," I'm always gonna listen because, you know, I you know, you're like what I admire most about like Madlib, Knowledge, Jay Dilla, Ninth Wonder is their ear is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you listen to the song they sampled, and it's like, what the fuck? You found that in there? So I'm always down to, like, any more music that I can digest and listen to and find new things to sample, I'm always going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just such, like, a weirdo, obsessive nerd about music that, like, I just spend all my days just sitting on here, and I'll listen to an album and be like, oh, I like the guitar part in that. And then I'll go and I'll look up who played guitar on that. And I'm like, oh, they have, like, solo material. Let me go listen to this guy's solo material. Oh, you know what I mean? And just kind of get down holes like that. So anytime I have an excuse to nerd out about it when someone, I always appreciate. Because the kids I went to school with at, like, Full Sail, who were in the music business program, they would come in wearing, like, a band t-shirt. And I'm like, oh, you like that band? I know this band that just put out their first album. Here, do you want me to play yours? And they're like, no, I don't want to hear that. And I'm like, what? Like, that's part of your job in the music industry is to be on top of what's coming out. And you just shooed me away from, like, what? I was just mind blown at that situation. And, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get how some people want to work in the industry, but then don't listen to the music itself. That's mind blowing.
That sounds like the industry right now, though.
That is the industry right now, unfortunately. I was having that conversation with my friend about journalism and stuff like that, and how, like, I wish there was more platforms for people like you and No Clue and Apollo's Harp and all those guys to kind of have, like, a conglomerate place where people can go and see what they're releasing and everything like that.
Yeah.
But there's huge people like Fantano, like he has a side channel where he reviews memes instead of, like, reviewing, like, smaller artists that he finds or doing the research to do whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that it's his job, but
he stopped doing the It Came From Bandcamp series, and I'm not a Fantano fan.
No, I'm not either.
Like, I don't like how he approaches Twitter. I'm very, like, I don't know, I sound pretentious with this, but, like, most music journalism I'm pretty hesitant towards.
Oh, for sure.
Just because of, like, you know, my own experiences of, like, you know, reading write-ups, like, you know, it's something that I am always fearful of, but it sort of is what it is. One publication that I think is doing really good work is DJ Booth.
DJ Booth is great. I love DJ Booth.
That's like the one, is DJ Booth. And you.
They're just so articulate with what they say, too. And they talk about music so creatively. It's really, like, they talk about, like, how different colors, they associate different colors and different feelings with all the music and everything. Like, I was reading Yo's, you know Yo? He did a write-up on Faces that I was reading yesterday because it was the anniversary of Faces. And he was just so... It was so beautiful the way he described it and wrote about it and everything like that. It was so sick.
They heavily weigh in, like, the subjectivity of it, of appreciating music. And that's why I like them so much, because if you recognize your opinion is subjective, like, genuinely subjective, and you enjoy the music, then it's going to come across as genuine. That's why I love DJ Booth, and they review what they want to review.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
They reviewed, Elohim's project on.
I did. I was seeing that they picked up his album. That was so exciting to me. I love seeing that.
Yeah, on his B-tape. Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, I love that because it was Insomniac magazine.
Not familiar.
They were, like, I think technically, like, the first like hip hop magazine. The dude who started it teaches at Full Sail, actually, and was a real sick dude, real cool mentor to me. And he posted about a Prose tape, and it was the latest one where I think Amir was on it, Amir Bilal, and they tagged Amir in the post and everything like that, and I was like, oh, that's sick. That, like, it's just exciting to me when I see people like that getting recognition on, like, a kind of larger level like that. Not that it really, you know what I mean? Because that's what journalism should be. It should be finding new artists and then finding an audience for that audience, or, like, building an audience yourself. And then being able to provide that audience new music on you know what I mean, as much as you can.
Yeah.
Compared to, like, just being like, oh, Kanye released his new shoes, which is, you know, exciting to some people. I don't wear shoes, you know what I mean. I don't collect shoes or anything like that. So, like, that's just not, I'm more excited about Kanye's music, and there's no, like, if you post about Kanye's music, people feel the need to post about his shoes, and Kanye's just one example. There's tons of people who do that. But, yeah, I don't really get that. If you're, like, a music blog, why are you talking about something else except music? That was always mind-boggling to me.
It's just, I guess it's like getting as much interaction you can.
It's about
and
clicks.
sort of, yeah.
It's all about
Which
clicks.
is unfortunate, but you know.
Yeah, and in order to restructure that, you would pretty much need to restructure like how people consume music and media, and pretty much everything about the music industry. So like blogs are just sort of like one small part of like everything that I feel like needs to be changed within the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but it's just a weird because I've been writing since I was 16 years old probably. The first article I wrote was about Lil Yachty's place in hip hop, I believe was the title of the article. I was just defending because I love Lil Yachty and I think he's just so fun. And at the time, I thought like he released Lil Boat and Summer Songs 2 in the same year, and I was like, this guy is the fucking future. I was like, and everyone was just making fun of him and shit like that, and I was like, nah, fuck that. So I wrote like a page about how like I think Lil Yachty's so sick, and I submitted it to DJ Boost because they have a little like submit your articles and stuff like that, and I submitted and they responded like no. They were pretty much just like this grammar errors all over the place, like what you're talking about, like half of it doesn't even fucking make sense, like you're just bitching about how other people don't like artists you like this is not going to go on a website. And I was like, alright, fair. But then it got picked up by like this other smaller blog and shit like that, and like that was my first published article. But I used to write for different blogs and shit like that, and they would literally it was Reggie Snow's Dear Annie album, and that's like one of my favorite albums ever made. I think that album is so beautiful. I think it's so sick. So I gave it a 10 in my review, and they were literally like, no. They were like, the blog is too young for you to give an album a 10. Give it like an 8.5 or a 9. And I was like, so you want me to lie? I was like, that's what we're resorting to just to keep the integrity of your brand. Like, you want me just to lie about a music I like? I was like, just don't post the article then. Like, that's it.
It's crazy.
It's too much. Then that's why I got out of it and went to school to do music marketing. But then the more I learned about it and the more I learned about target markets and everything like that, I'm like, that's gross. So now I'm just trying to find a sort of a sweet spot in the middle of the marketing and journalism thing.
I mean, if I were you, I would try and get back with DJ Booth.
Because it was just, shows I go to?
Not familiar.
They're a small, they're Florida-based, they're right around Orlando and everything like that, but they're like a little print magazine that just started only on like the 7th issue, and I met the dude who edits it and writes for it, and he was real cool, and we talked for a while, and he said he was going to get back to me, but that was like, as soon as he said that, I like had to immediately fly back to Nashville because the whole pandemic started, and like the day I left Orlando, the next day they went on lockdown and shit like that, so like everything kind of, it's real screwy, the world. That's like my little personal problems are the least of what's going on in the world.
Right.
But yeah, I was thinking about maybe I should hit up DJ Booth. I never thought about that.
I mean, like, you know, I've thought about doing music journalism myself at one point, like high school-ish time. You know, I'm 19 right now, but definitely whenever I was like younger, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do that. I've submitted my own article to DJ Booth before, so, and it was not good at all. Not in the slightest. But, you know, what you're doing, I think, is very, very important. Like, there's a lot of people on the site that I think, who had the interview with Amir? I forget his name. His name's like Nick.
I know who you're talking about. That was a sick interview, too. I like how you talking about the one where he kind of cut into songs in between it and shit like that?
Right.
Yeah, that was a sick interview.
He just had one with Tony Tone of Pantheon.
He's dope, too.
Yeah, he's dope. And just, I think that's super interesting. And there's a market to capitalize on this, too. It's small, but it's like a growing one.
That's what I was talking about yesterday with my friend.
Right.
Where he was like, is it, like, enough people around it? Like, who, like, because I'm, like, the keynote obsessive weird music nerd fan in my friend group. You know what I mean? But, like, they're just like, that's just Ryan being a weirdo. There's not a lot of kids like him. But it's like, but there are. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're saying, it's not huge, but it's growing. There are more kids collecting records and wanting to get to more rare records and going into, like, things that, like, I know if you actually sample, Who Samples is, like, the devil, the police. Everyone hates Who Samples. But, like, I'm not planning on stealing the sample, so I just use it as like a tool to figure out stuff like that. And I think
Right.
more people are going to start doing that and shit. And I think it's going to slowly become an artist-driven industry again, because it hasn't been for a while.
That comes back to like me wanting to be in complete control of my brand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the kind of what I am trying to, what I'm trying to show people what I have to offer. I suppose, like, kind of doing things my own way. You know, I personally believe that just be like, there are a lot of people that are in this scene that are like, you know, really kind of dragging the rest of the people forward.
Mm.
Biggest one, I think, is Mute Academy. I think Mute Academy is going to be huge. Probably by the end of this year, next year,
Right.
They're going to be massive. I could see them being Griselda, you know.
Oh, wow.
I think Mute Academy is going to be huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing dope stuff for sure. That Holy Water album is fucking
Oh my gosh.
unreal, dog. There's some crazy shit on that Holy Water album.
Every single producer in Mute Academy is an inspiration to me. I will say that right now. Like Grey Matter and Fozy. Oh my gosh.
Insane. Obliv is crazy too.
Obliv. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
And they're just, you know, dragging people forward. And what, like, you know, there are people who have been in for so long, but it's like this like underground wave has just been so fueled by the internet to where underground scenes where it used to be that the sound that was determined by the geography is what kind of bled through. Now it's just do your own thing, you know. You're encouraged to do your own thing. That's why I love Prose. You know, I love Prose. I love all of No Clue because they're their own thing. Everyone's just kind of creating what they want to create, and they're not dictated by sort of geography. And I think that's something why I think it's so important for, you know, publications and journalists to capitalize on. And like I said, I think it's going to get bigger because, like, you know, I just said, like, Illahim just got his, got his project covered by DJ Booth.
Right.
Echo got his project covered by DJ Booth. So it's only going up for everyone, you know?
That's what
That's
I was
exciting.
thinking too. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think it's gonna be because like I was saying, Insomniac picked up their project with Amir and the Prose stuff and everything like that, and they're not huge, but they're like pretty well respected in sense of like the hip hop community and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna go. I think it's only getting bigger and bigger, and I think it's gonna grow and grow until it is sort of like the thing in hip hop, where it is like just these loop based everything. You know what I mean?
It's sort of like just people riding their own wave, and then if it comes to where, you know, it's the sound, then it's the sound. But I think people are gonna create whatever they feel they want to create is gonna exist.
Yeah,
I think that's inevitable in the internet era. You know.
definitely.
I can make a beat the same day to SoundCloud, and people will hit me up for that specific beat, and I'll already have sold it, but I'll sell them another beat. So, you know, I can spread my, you know, I guess my clout. I can multiply it almost daily. You know, with the removal of, you know, sort of like, you know, that kind of ground level exposure, you know, you can, it's just very liberating, and I think people need to capitalize on that, but, you know.
Yeah, and that's why places like Bandcamp and SoundCloud are so important, because there is such a community feeling on those websites where everyone's just excited to be creating. No one's
Right.
really doing it for any other reason besides the fact that they just are so excited that people want to hear them. You're just excited people want to hear your music and people want to use your beats and everything like that. And there's like a huge community of people just like that. And I think that's a very exciting thing going on in like the industry right now, quote unquote the industry. I don't know that's a weird term to make, music industry, but
Yeah.
You know what I mean. But I think I was watching something at some point where someone was describing like popular music in terms of like the art and like the Renaissance that was going on, where at one point everyone was doing really, intricate painting, like people painted, I forget the name, the top of the church, where like it's just real intricate, like religious paintings and everything like that, and it's very detailed. Right. But then you, at some point, like people like Basquiat and all those, like the more abstract people came in, and then that was what was selling for like millions and millions. And I think something like that, and it kind of goes in a cycle like that. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen within the industry, or within music now, is that it's just going to...
I think we're going through a renaissance right now.
100%.
I've said that, like, multiple times on Twitter. It's, like, just being able to, like, find music instantaneously, become a fan of an artist in the same day is something that we just don't even think about. Mm-hmm. But, like, I found out Little Brother by my bus driver, Oh,
wow.
My bus driver in elementary school. Like, that's who put me on to artists. Now, I can read an article, or I see a retweet, and it's someone rapping or a beat, and then I'm a fan of them. Mm-hmm. There's so much removed that it allows, it really makes the art rise, and it's whoever can use the algorithm to their advantage, That's why I do those beat videos.
Right.
People see lights and they hear sounds, and
Dude, they're drawn in.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a genuine thing. Like I found to where I'm making a beat and I just have the video where it's just my speaker. They don't click on it as much. Yeah. But if they see me moving my hands and chopping while I'm doing it at the same time, people click on it and they interact with it.
Oh wow.
So just back to the Renaissance thing. Like Bandcamp has helped so much with just getting people's names out there, because they always do the album roundups at the end of every month, where their staff picks their favorite that they found on the platform. Yeah, this is I would not give up any time. Like I would never go back in the past and make music then. I would only make music now.
Oh, 100%. The internet is making it so much. There's more, because when you look back at like the 90s and stuff like that, there was like 10 rappers, you know what I mean, that were like really going in and like were popular and selling really well. But now there's, because of Bandcamp and SoundCloud, people can create their own communities and sell well within that community, and that community only grows. So I think, I agree. Well, like people are afraid to use the internet because they think it's one thing or the other. But I think not using the internet when you're making music in this day and age is you're just kind of holding yourself back, more or less.
You're keeping both hands tied behind your back.
Yeah.
Not just one, it's both hands tied behind your back, in my opinion. I don't really want to use the internet to promote myself, but at the same time, it's also, I don't want to, because I don't like what comes with the internet.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, it's like, you kind of have to outweigh it, I wouldn't have found anyone, I wouldn't have been in this, like we wouldn't have been interviewing if it weren't for Twitter,
right.
Like every single feature on there has been someone found me from Twitter, or like I would make a beat and then I had my Twitter bio plugged in my SoundCloud and then someone found me from there.
Exactly.
So having that, that public image, that public front, like I treat almost my Twitter as like a storefront, or just like a shop, just come in, look around.
Right. Yeah, I think every article I've written for this website has been someone I've met through Twitter, except Trippy Sack. I met Trippy Sack's my friend that I know I met him in college when I was at Full Sail.
Gotcha.
So, but besides that, everything, even the more popular stuff, even like the Gus Dappertons and the Yellow Days that I write about, I don't know them personally, but I found out through them because I was going through Twitter and everything like that.
Social media age is crazy. I would not give it up for anything.
No, yeah. It's great. It's like you're saying, where it has its downside. That's why I kind of that's why I wasn't writing for like a week, because I was like, I need to get off the internet for like a little bit. Like I feel like I'm spending, because it's like I was saying, well, like I just spend all day searching music and shit like that, and then at one point I'm on Twitter and I look up and it's been like an hour and a half of me just on Twitter, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should go. What's the sun look like? So, yeah, I feel like it's definitely a balance, and I like what you're talking about, where like it's more of like a storefront to you, and you don't really see it as anything more or less than like a platform to promote yourself.
Yeah, and I can use it to promote myself, or like I can promote other people too.
Exactly.
That's a big part for me. Is like, you know, there's a lot of people I like listening to that I want more people to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can make music with them too. So that's cool. You know.
But
that kind of ties back in with like why I love production so much. Like I guess there's I don't know if you watched, but I think Genius did like an interview with Conway and Alchemist about Lulu.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I know what you're talking about. I don't think I watched it yet.
Yeah, and Alchemist he just listens to what Conway has to say so much on all of his beats and what he's rapping about, and it just strikes Alchemist so much. And he's like, I didn't live that life, you know. I don't know. I can't relate to what he's talking about, but he's saying something realistic to him. It's all genuine, you know. And he was like, I can use my platform to uplift these other people. And that's something that's really important to me. It's like, you know, not to like politicize or whatever, but it's like, you know, I feel like as a producer, I can recognize my privilege. Like, I'm a white guy, you know.
Oh, 100%. No, I know. Yeah.
Like I can recognize my privilege, and I can uplift someone to, you know, maybe I can pry something out of them that they wouldn't say normally because of the beat I made. Mm-hmm. Or they'll say something that they feel like needs to be said, and that's my way of kind of giving back.
Right.
Or and that's the whole thing of me not being really like present, or like me not being tied to my brand. I just want this to be the image, you know. Mm-hmm. Whether people know it or not of me, like I feel like uplifting someone. It doesn't really matter. Like I normally don't charge for beats. Unless someone asks me, like, how much do you charge?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that I work with have in very, like, specific financial situations, and I completely understand.
Right.
So, like, I guess having that sense of, like, I'm doing my part to be sort of like I wouldn't say ally, but, like, kind of create something to where, like I said, that it brings something out of them. That's why I love Alchemist.
Yeah,
because he'll just work with whoever he thinks is dope and has something to say. Mm-hmm. Like the Bully James project, I think is dope. And I see Alchemist working. And he's just like that's another huge inspiration for me.
Alchemist.
I've got like 10 producers that are huge influences on me, you know. But like Alchemist is like that's Madlib to me.
Okay.
Like the same like level.
Oh, okay, I'm following.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alchemist is he's a madman. What he's able to do with that drum machine, he's a fucking. I'm a huge Alchemist fan. I think you know the song "Perfectionist" off Cutting Room Floor 3. It's got like Meek Mill and Rick Ross on it by Alchemist.
Yep.
That shit is so fucking beautiful to me. That shit is mind blowing when I hear that song. Because that's the thing. That's why I like the flips and the stuff that people like you do. Because I'm a huge fan of these like. People like Meek Mill and Rick Ross and Playboi Carti, and when to hear them like kind of do something different, even you know what I mean. It's just really, it's really. That's why I like that Earthquake song by Tyler so much because it's Playboi Carti. He's doing exactly what he does over like a Pierre Bourne beat, but it's just straight piano. It's just a piano ballad going under it, and that shit is it's so fun to me. It's so beautiful hearing that, like, because everyone likes to put these. People in boxes like, oh, he's I don't even want to use it, but I'm just going to use the word just because I can't think of anything else. Oh, he's a mumble rapper. Or he does the trap stuff, or he's a SoundCloud guy. But, like, you look at Eternal Atake by Uzi, every one of those beats is pretty much different. And he's working with all different types of producers, and he can rap. You know what I mean? Like, Uzi can actually... rap in a way, to me at least. I
definitely can. I'm a big fan of Uzi.
I love Uzi. I'm always biased towards people from where I'm from. I'm not from Philadelphia. I'm from outside of Philadelphia. But like, there's no one in my little suburban town that's like doing stuff like Uzi's doing. So like, I kind of it's like when people are sports fans and they're like, oh, I'm a Sixers fan, even though I don't live directly in Philadelphia. I kind of like just like rooting for people like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little.
I'm the same way for sure.
Yeah, like boys like you with a little brother and everything like that in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a Hornets fan too, so.
Oh, okay.
Pain.
Yeah, no. Trust me, but it's tough not having basketball, but at the same time, I appreciate the break of like getting my heart broken by that team. Just watching Embiid just take 3-pointers as a 7-foot fucking man is so frustrating.
I don't even think it's Embiid's fault.
No, it's not. It's literally I fire Brett Brown. I was not under fire Brett Brown chains, but I'm a fire. Get that man out of here. He cannot do shit.
It's frustrating for me, especially with basketball right now, because like the Hornets were on a 5-game stretch. Like we were the first team in the entire league to keep Milwaukee under 100.
Oh,
the first time this season.
Wow.
Hornets were the first team. We dicked the Houston Rockets. We destroyed them.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't score for 8 minutes in the first quarter. The Rockets did 1 game against us.
Wow.
That happened. We swept Dallas this year.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that.
It's frustrating right now because it's like
you guys were having a good year.
It wasn't even like we were expected to be the worst team in basketball, period, because Kemba left.
That's right.
And we got Terry Rozier. But, like, Devontae Graham is, like, easily most improved player. You know? He was on track to average, he was averaging, like, 23, I think.
Oh, wow.
With, like, 8 assists. He was, like, within 5 games, he was averaging, like, 30-something, 32.
Shit.
Like, statistically, him and Terry Rozier are the best, like, second-best backcourt in the East.
Damn, I didn't even realize that.
They're better than the Rockets backcourt. They're just slightly worse than Portland, given like current statistics. And that, like, there's no Curry or Clay or anything like that, but like we have a bright future ahead, I think.
The Hornets do look good. I didn't realize until you started saying stats, but no, the Hornets are pretty. Nigga, I'm like half into basketball. Well, like I just pay attention to like the Sixers and then like other stuff around the league. Like unless you're playing the Sixers, I don't really know what's going on. But it's interesting to hear that how well they were doing, and it's I miss basketball.
I miss it so much. Like I'm used to my team being trash, but like we had some bright moments this season, so I miss it, of course. But
yeah,
you know, I love basketball so much. Like it's very important, I think, to me, especially just like at hip hop and you know. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it is like it's like skateboarding. Well, like you don't think about it, but there's a pretty close connection to skateboarding and hip hop, and there's a pretty close connection to basketball and hip hop for sure.
Right, and football and everything like that.
Just sports in general. Period. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because
big Hornets fan.
Yeah, I grew up on basketball because my dad was like, I think he grew up in like Brooklyn, and he won like first place in like some like New York statewide like free throw shooting competition. He got like he hit like 98 out of 100 free throws or some shit like that. So he was sort of like went to school for basketball. He was sort of like a prodigy. I don't think his dad was good at basketball, but like when my brother is not coordinated, so like when I came along, my dad was like, "All right, this is going to be the basketball guy," but I was ass. I hated how I sucked at playing basketball. I was so fucking bad. But it was always my dad had like season tickets to the Sixers and everything like that. We would go to like every game, so like basketball was a huge part of my life growing up. I fuck with basketball so much. It's so creative the way they play. I think it's so interesting, yes, like just how like someone can just like see like 5 people trying to stop them to get to a basket, and they find a way to bob and weave in and get to the layup. It's like it's so insane to me. It's so creative and fun to watch.
Absolutely, like basketball is extremely important to me. Like I was at the Bobcats game where Melo dropped, what was it, 68?
No.
I was at that Bobcats game.
I forgot you guys were the Bobcats.
Where were the Bobcats? Garbage. We went to the playoffs though, but you know.
Yeah, I just completely forgot you guys were like a team.
And very, very important to me. That's like what I have left of North Carolina.
Mm. I feel that. But I feel like all of this should be in the interview though, what we've been talking about. I feel like to me, I've been recording the whole time.
Yeah.
But to me, like,
you can use whatever you want, man.
I'm also just thinking about like doing audio of it. I don't know how good